Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape!
We're going streaking!
Dave's Video Graveyard.
That guy in little clothes. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
I'm not a smart man.
Shut up!
One tubby.
What's wrong with him?
My first thought would be alive.
Why so serious?
Wise man say forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza.
Hail to the king, baby.
Hey, Ma! The meatloaf! We want it now! The meatloaf!
Of all the radio shows in the world, this is definitely one of them. Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOW FM.
Okay, you people sit tight, hold the fort, and keep the home fires burning. And if we're not back by dawn, call it.
It is 100.5 WOW FM, Dave's Video Graveyard, starting the evening off by checking that all the wrong buttons are working, and they definitely are this evening. Paulie, how are you doing?
I am doing really good. How about you?
We just got our first ever guest gift.
We did.
That's pretty good. We are joined by Laken from Angelik. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the gift.
You were backing up a big weekend, a big show, including a singles launch. How did that go?
Great night, fantastic. Echo Chamber, killed it. They're amazing. And Electric Sex Pants, always awesome. Great night, lots of fun.
When I first saw the poster for your gig, I won't lie, I just started rewatching the IT Crowd because of Electric Sex Pants. I'm like, oh, I love that show. So thank you so much for joining us. An absolute, I guess you'd say, mainstay in the local punk scene.
You're just calling me old now.
Pretty like for anyone that's not in the know.
Angelic, local, Adelaide. I don't know, I guess we've got punk-ish tendencies, probably more rock. I don't know. I always find it really hard to describe our sound because I'm not that interested. No, kidding.
You're just above that.
I'm so above that. I guess we're sort of like punk, rock, pub rock, what have you. And we've been around for a long time. We're old.
How is it being a female-fronted pub rock band with a lead singer with a smoky voice? Are there any comparisons to any other existing Australian bands?
Let me see.
Because no one comes to mind.
No?
No, not at all.
Okay. What would you not think that I would be compared to then?
Well, I think that maybe the Divinals may have been mentioned once or twice to you in your time at all.
Yeah, good.
It's just laziness more so than like any actual comparison, but yeah.
Yeah, I get Chrissy Hines, Chrissy Amphlett, and actually I will say that Shano, our drummer, his father came on Saturday night and gave me one of the best compliments of my life. He scored a big wet kiss and a hug for this one, which Shane said that's why he said it, but I don't believe that. I'm not that cynical. I think he said it and he meant it. He said he was watching Janis Joplin the other night and he turned to his wife and he said, I prefer Laken.
Oh,
so for me, that was, that was for me probably one of the biggest compliments of my lifetime.
Any compliment, not even a compliment. Anytime I'm compared, it's always prefer the other person. It's like, when it comes to weird-looking chubby gingers, I prefer Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Right.
Like, that's the kind of thing I get.
Maybe if we're watching a doco of how she dies, like, that reminds me of Dave.
That's right. I was watching this documentary on ABC too about people that are puffed out, and I just thought of you. That's the kind of stuff
Do you
I
ever get you're like the more tired version of that person?
Not quite.
Okay. I won't go there then.
There is actually an actor, I can't even think of his name right now, but he's always an extra in every popular TV show. Never a good guy and stuff. And so often people will like tag me in photos and stuff of him, and I'm like, I look nothing like him. And then someone whose opinion I actually respected said, I was watching Sons of Anarchy the other day, and one of the guys on there looked heaps like you. I'm like, who is it? And then it was the same guy, so I was a bit upset about that. But back to the movies. Tonight you'll be taking us through your 10 favourites. Before we get to that, Paulie, I haven't watched any trailers this week.
I did my homework this week.
Ooh, nice. Well, it's a bit of a counterpoint to the usual.
They had the new trailer for the new Creed, which I could care less about.
I did watch that trailer also.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, Sylvester Stallone sort of just stumbling through it, and I saw some guy like shadowboxing in a pool underneath the water. So that's awesome.
Well, I wonder how far he's going to milk it. Like, are we going to get a Clubber Lang? Is the next franchise after this?
I'm interested in it because I was just so impressed with what's the lead actor's name?
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, in Black Panther. Like, now I sort of want to watch.
He is who I wanted to be Spawn.
But my favourite of this week, there's a movie coming out called Welcome to Marwen, which has got Steve Carell in it. It's based on a true story of a guy who got beaten up outside of a pub, and then to deal with his grief and his mental illness, he started making this toy land in his backyard. So he's got these soldiers, and it's like all sort of World War II themed, lots of stuff. But Robert Zemeckis made this movie, and he's made the soldiers come to life. So he starts playing out like these battles with the Nazis and lots of stuff, and then like they start to go, like he goes into the courtroom, and it's just one of the best trailers I've seen for a while. I've watched it like 3 times, and it's like you nearly cry in it, and it's just good. So yeah, Zemeckis obviously did Forrest Gump, so he's always on the cutting edge of like technology and lots of stuff. This looks like it's seamless. Like you'll see Steve Carell, and then also like the toy version of Steve Carell, and it's just they're in the same scene. It's just amazing. So
I'm on board. That sounds awesome.
The other one, if you could think of the most perfect movie in the world of having the star of Frasier and the star of Veronica Mars in a movie together as father and daughter, I've got the movie for you.
Is that called Dave Won't Watch? It's
it is called Paul Will Watch Many Times. Because it's happening. It's called Like Father, and it's from like it should be in the mid-2000s because it's like Veronica Mars. I'm just gonna call them by their character names. She gets left at the altar, and then her father, Frasier, comes back. She hasn't had him in his life for a while, and then they go on a cruise together because that's the honeymoon. And then she meets Seth Rogen. Let's throw Seth Rogen in there.
Wow, that sounds.
And I'm going to watch the crap out of this movie, and it's going to be on Netflix in August.
Actually, one thing that harkens to my observational skills, I got home last week and looked at our on-air photo and realised you're wearing a Frasier shirt, and I was just so disappointed that I allowed that to happen under my roof.
What's even sadder, I've got 2 Frasier shirts.
So the only trailer really I watched other than the Creed 2 one was I watched, like, they've released pretty much 6 more trailers for The Equalizer 2 because Denzel needs his Taken franchise, and we're going to see it. Stop showing us parts of the movie.
I did see one for the new Bruce Willis movie too, but I can't, like, it's
That's not Death Wish, is it? That's
Reprisal. And I just don't care.
No,
it's just, I don't. And the Meg. Have you seen the Meg? It's like a giant shark. It's a giant shark movie, and I'm going to watch the crap out of that as well. I might even pay money to go see that movie. I'll see. There was a poster at the Hoyts last time. I was like, they're actually going to release this in the cinemas.
They had a massive cardboard cutout at, I think it was the Westlake cinemas.
Really?
And you get to stand behind it so that the Meg's eating you. And I was like, that's fantastic. I'm pretty sure it's at Westlakes at the cinema.
I'm going there.
Awesome. So we might hear from Angelic, one of the songs they released on the weekend, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the first film on your choice of 10 films. Are you ready?
Let's do this.
100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard. We are joined by Laken from Angelic, and the first choice of guest choice films this evening, the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Absolute classic.
Yes.
Tell us all about it.
I'll tell you all about it. Well, I'll be honest, and I actually grew up in a house where my parents had worked on the stage production back in the day. So they didn't like the movie version because they thought that Reg Livermore made it much better.
A bit of elitism.
Yeah. So they discouraged me from watching the movie version, which didn't take. I continued to watch it, just ad nauseum. And I'd actually taped it off the TV onto VCR. And I think there was like a point where I just smashed it so hard. I just watched it so much. I would recite the commercials because I didn't do that thing, when you'd sit there and like pause the commercials, and I hadn't been able to do that. So I even knew like the ads off by heart. It was just ludicrous.
My auntie had taped Terminator 2 off of Imparja TV in Wilcannia, which is a town outside of my hometown.
Right.
And it wasn't censored because it was back in the time where I don't think there was much, attention paid to what they were airing. So pretty much there was this R-rated movie on free-to-air TV that my auntie had taped, and exactly the same, every single ad in every business. For years after, I had the jingles for businesses that no longer exist just because they're in these poorly made things. With the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the first time I ever saw it was one night. I used to tape Rage in the middle of the night until the morning. Oh no, Saturday night I'd set the VCR at 2 a.m. and then I would tape it on Sunday morning when I got up as well, because I was big on I had 2 VCRs because I was the coolest kid ever.
Oh, wow.
And so I'd make mixtapes on VCR.
Oh, that's like next level.
I know, it's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm married though. So.
Dear.
You're so cool.
I know. I get told that all the time by the mirror.
Yeah.
Sorry, so there was a Countdown special on where they just played old videos off Countdown. And in the middle of that, they played The Time Warp and something else. I don't think it was even like music videos. They just cut parts of the movie and put them in because ABC was pretty loose back then.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with this song, did not know what it was from. And I told my auntie, and she was like, oh, that's from one of my favourite movies, Rocky Horror. Come over and you can watch it. So I got over there. I don't even know how old I was at the time. She put it on for me, and then about 20 minutes in, she's like, oh, hang on, this is a filthy movie to show a little kid. So for me, and this is until I was an adult, Rocky Horror finished after Frankenfurter came down in the elevator.
Oh, no.
Did the Sweet Transvestite song, and that was the end of the movie.
Right, yep.
So I was like, this is one of the best 33-minute movies I've ever seen. I thought it was like Michael Jackson's Thriller, it was just a long music video thing. It wasn't until I actually met my wife that we watched it.
No, are you serious?
I'm serious. I got until I was an adult
whole life.
because I was that sheltered as a child. And I always tell it every time I see my auntie, and she's like, well, it almost worked out because, you've overcompensated with your sense of humour now. One of the most iconic Tim Curry roles in cinema history.
Oh, he's fabulous.
Some people consider him as Pennywise. Some people consider him as, in Legend?
Oh, yeah.
And also the main thing being this. I love it. It's actually getting a midnight screening once again next month here in Adelaide. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't mind going to that.
I went to quite a few of them in Sydney. They used to do it regularly in Sydney. So it'd be every Friday night they'd do it. And they'd have the whole, everyone from the local drama group would be at the front dressed up singing the alternate version and spraying the crowd with water guns and, obsessive. It's, I think I was the only kid in one of our primary school parties, fancy dress party, and I'm magenta.
Yeah.
It's just black lipstick and a maid's outfit. Probably very inappropriate with fishnets and things, but I knew what I wanted to do. Although now that I've grown up, I'd rather be Columbia. She can tap, and she's got a better song, I reckon.
And for me, the greatest character in the entire film is Janet, because I'm in love forever with Susan Sarandon. And if it was 2007, I might even objectify her. But given that that's not the time we live in, I'll just say what a fantastic actress she is and move on while Paul shakes his head.
Your mouth is saying stuff, but your eyes is just...
I'm just Google imaging stuff.
Yeah.
So, you said your parents worked on the stage version.
Yes.
Who were the cast at that time?
So, Reg Livermore was Frankfurter.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure I could have written all this down. I'm actually being prepared, but I didn't, so I'm going to stumble through it.
Prepared? What is that?
I can't even say it. How can I be it? So I'm pretty sure that, I think Little Nell was doing Columbia because they did have Riff Raff, the guy who wrote it.
Yep.
He was in it.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So it was the official stage version.
Yes.
It wasn't like the... the local
No,
theatre
it was the real one.
The players.
With,
Wow.
that went around Australia.
Yeah,
the real one.
The one that went on to be the Craig McLachlan vehicle? Is it that one?
Many, 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 many years later. Which I did go to... I saw Craig do it. He was actually good. I didn't think he'd... I was like, oh, that's going to be really weird. And I actually thought he was fantastic. But
I just
obviously,
wish
there's other things going on.
Yeah, well,
we don't have
just
to go
totally
there.
remove from that.
Yeah.
I really just wish he'd open up with check 1, 2 before the show. He's like, I've got to get my band in to do Hey Mona before the actual show. 'Cause that's the long. I'm sure that was the long game in his plan originally.
Oh, definitely. I mean, he needed to have a long game. Our mate Jamie, who writes into the show, he said that he actually taped the audio off it so he could have the soundtrack.
Oh, perfect.
and I've heard a lot of people do that actually. So yeah,
quite often when we have the guest choice, we'll play a song from the film. This is probably the hardest time I've had was picking the best song from the film because I love every song in the whole film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard. It is as hard as picking your 10 favourite films. It's almost impossible.
It's like picking the best bit of Grease too. It's just impossible because the whole thing is great.
I'm going to have to watch that now.
Credits.
I'm going to have to watch it now.
It's not very nice at all. You really should. You will be...
I'd never heard of it before tonight.
Time will tell.
No one.
This is Dave's Video Graveyard as we move on to our next song here on WOWFM. It is 100.5 WOWFM, Dave's Video Graveyard, joined by Laken from the local punk band Angelic, picking your top 10 favourite films. And the next one is an absolute doozy. There we heard from Eric Idle with Always Look on the Bright Side of Life, taken from the film from 1979, Life of Brian.
Yes.
Tell us all about it.
It was between that and Holy Grail. So it was a very close call.
Yeah.
But I think I've seen this one more. This is another... I've just realised, a lot of this shit goes back to my shows. It's like a therapy session, guys. So I'll be paying you as I leave after the hour.
Awesome.
But as kids, I don't know, this is going to say... I hope my parents aren't listening. So they used to go to a lot of parties. And for some reason, they were I guess they were hippies. And we weren't allowed to... There was, lots of stuff we weren't allowed to watch, except for Monty Python. And all the kids back in those parties in the 80s where the parents didn't watch you and you'd all be in the street with shopping trolleys,
yep.
just thrown each other down hills and just a gang just roaming the streets come and get us. And then when we'd get tired, we'd all put either Holy Grail or Life of Brian and we'd all lay around watching it. And I don't think I got a lot of it at the time, but it just brings back warm and fuzzy
feelings. It's a nostalgia thing, yeah.
Yeah. So I really should have realised we were going to talk about these movies when I for some reason my brain didn't go to that next level.
We're just going to post the photo of your list and that.
Yeah, just me going, hi, listen to my band. Yeah, I don't know. Just I guess it was from my childhood. It makes me feel happy, and it is. They're fucking hilarious. Oh God, sorry.
Moving on. It's definitely the most controversial of all the Monty Python work, simply for the fact that it's considered sacrilegious.
Oh, I didn't realise.
Yeah, well, each to its own. I think it's far enough removed. Spoiler alert from anyone that hasn't seen this film from 1979. But you were saying about the party, that's the exact same scenario as the first time I saw Alien. And then I cried for Mum and Dad to take me home because the movie scared me so much. We shouldn't have... It was all older kids, and so I was like, yeah, I'm cool. Watched the entire thing, then went and cried and said that
Did you cry in front of the other kids, or did you
No.
out?
I was cool as, and then I went out to Mum and Dad and cried that I didn't feel well and wanted to go home, when in reality I was so scared because that movie was terrifying at the time.
That's brilliant. I like how you played it cool, though.
I always do.
Together.
I always do, believe it or not.
For a while.
Not for very long. Yeah. I used to be able to, now I can't even watch, a baby getting their hearing aid turned on in a video without just crying until snot comes out.
Do you just...
And that's even in public. I'm just
That's awesome.
So the next family-friendly film that you picked was from 1994. It was written by Quentin Tarantino, one of the second films he wrote. He wrote True Romance first. Then he wrote Natural Born Killers.
In order to get Reservoir Dogs made. He sold it.
Pretty much, yeah.
And he hates this movie.
Yeah, didn't he say, I don't want my name to have anything to do with this movie?
This is it's probably my favourite Oliver Stone thing, other than maybe... I don't know.
JFK.
Nah.
I love that movie.
That was a set text in Year 9 Society and Culture.
Really?
And we had to just keep watching the film.
Really?
And then, but because it wasn't from a film standpoint, it was from Society and Culture, we had to break the film down in the most unfilm-related way that it ruined the film. Anytime a movie becomes a set text for me at school, it stops being fun. One of my favourite movies when I was younger was Witness with Harrison Ford. Became a set text in Year 10. Ruined the film for me.
It's a really inappropriate movie. JFK's a really inappropriate movie for like high school
Super
kids.
is. Well, it was about changing perspective. So it was about how it was a lot of conspiracy theory and stuff.
Yeah.
But this film is a long music video to a degree.
Yeah.
It was it was a sign of what MTV was at the time. I even there was a lot of parody stuff in it, including the I Love Lucy type bit with
Rodney Dangerfield.
Sean Mallory's growing up and stuff.
Well, I think the soundtrack is a huge hook. It's, you want to put this movie on because every song is pretty killer. You're I'm going to enjoy this ride.
When I was looking, I was like, I should play a song from it. And I went through the soundtrack and I was like, the third 9 Inch Nails song that was used, I'm like, you know what? I'm not interested anymore. I'm not playing any of these songs because it was all Lennon Cohen or
What about Shit List?
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff, but I usually tune out when 9 Inch Nails is mentioned more than twice in anything.
Right.
Just not a fan of Trent. He takes himself too seriously.
This was one of the movies when I started to realise that Juliette Lewis could sing.
Yep.
And then I don't think it was that long after that I saw her in that one with Ralph Fiennes when she's a singer, and I should know what it's called and I don't. It's actually a really good movie.
Yeah, I know the one.
2000 or something like that.
Yep.
And she sings the PJ Harvey songs.
Yes.
And as soon as I saw it, I thought, I Googled her, and that's when I found out about Juliette and the Leaks, and I love that band.
Yeah.
And I was just became an even bigger fan. I mean, I like her work as an actress.
Yeah.
She always picks really interesting roles, and she sort of, she's not a glamour. It's not about being glamorous. She's really puts herself in the role. But when I heard her band, I was like, man, this chick is total package.
Yeah.
In love. I'm totally fangirl her. I would do anything for her. Just call me Juliet. Call me. Seriously, I will do anything for you. I'm here.
When I first saw From Dusk Till Dawn, I was obsessed with that film to the point of looking into the work of everyone involved. And that's how I found Juliette and the Leaks.
God, we're nerds,
but then they went down the path of, in the early 2000s, anything that Bam Margera put his name to. He was getting right into a lot of the bands and stuff. And that was kind of the point where I'm like, can you stop it?
Did you bow out?
Go back. No, I still love them, but it's go back to skateboarding and stop plastering your face all over the music videos of bands I love and stuff.
Yeah.
This film features straight up the second worst use of an Australian accent in a film.
It's beautiful.
This is back, funnily enough, just looking at the cast, this is back when Robert Downey Jr. wasn't clean, but Tom Sizemore was. So kind of a polar opposite of 2018. Rodney Dangerfield, fantastic. Very small role, but fantastic. Woody Harrelson and Juliette Lewis. I can't remember the first thing I loved Woody Harrelson in because he's been fantastic in his name on a screen and I'll watch it. It doesn't matter what it was.
Bums on seats with that name,
definitely.
Isn't it?
But yeah, it is probably the most violent movie I saw in, I reckon, the 90s. It's so visceral. It's basically if someone just spent all day listening to true crime and then had to program MTV for a day. It's insane. And like I say, Oliver Stone made so many big, massive, well-known films, but this was the one that I just thought had its own style, where everything else was down the Born on the 4th of July was just so grueling and sad and just dragged at your heartstrings. I just wasn't interested. It wasn't. I like films that are grueling, but when the entertainment level and the grueling line up, whereas for me, Born on the 4th of July was just do you want to? It's the feel-bad hit of the summer for me.
I honestly think that that dynamic of that duo, it's that sort of Sid and Nancy, or Bonnie and Clyde.
Definitely, that's what they're going for.
That really taps into people's, sort of their psyche, and I think there is something. It's repulsive, but it's also very attractive. Whereas these two people against the world, and you kind of, I think we all kind of go, oh, love that. minus probably the prison and the killing and the bloodshed and the beatings. Like, you know,
I know it's an overused thing nowadays, but I genuinely think this film was ahead of its time because it was definitely, you know, a foot in that self-aware reality TV generation that it was only in its very starting days back at this time, but now it's, you know, it's oversaturation.
That's so true.
But it's so, you know, it's so satirical. Like, it's just done so really well. I remember the other film that I loved from Oliver Stone. It was U-Turn, which is
it was
Sean Penn, where he's a gangster trying to run off with money, and his car breaks down in a small Mexican town, and it's really good crime caper.
I'll have to look that one up.
He also did Salvador with James Woods, which is just a depressing movie, but really, really good. Like, it's one of the best sort of real life movies, like based on real life, but it's really grueling to get through. James Woods being so James Woods in it.
Have you... I know that neither of us use Twitter properly, but recently I was directed to check out James Woods' Twitter. He is so self-important on Twitter. It's not just a character. Like, I always thought it was like a self-aware character that he plays like like a payout of himself.
No.
He is so self-important and insufferable and arrogant.
Yeah.
And it ruins that you think... I thought he was always playing, you know, a dig at himself.
No,
it's not.
He is just James.
He is a terrible person. Let's get back into the music now. Here we have... I don't know. Let me have a look. The Hold Steady with Sequestered in Memphis. It is Dave's Video Graveyard on 100.5 WOWFM, joined by Laken from Angelic. There we heard from the Ramones with Teenage Lobotomy, bringing us nicely into our next film selection. Why don't you tell us all about it?
Very clever.
Thank you.
Well done. So the next one is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And it's funny because it ruined, you know, the year 8, year 9 book report thing when they made us read the book.
Yeah.
I had watched the movie so many times, and of course the book is quite different to the movie.
Okay.
And I just struggled to get through the book. I was like, no, I don't like this version. I like
Do you know what I liked more about the movie than the book?
What?
No reading. It's exactly my favourite thing.
Well, at least the book didn't have ad breaks. But anyway,
now we spoke a little bit off air. I revisited this one over the weekend in preparation for tonight. The soundtrack is so bizarre in this film. To me, it does not fit this style of film. It's that... What did you say the instrument was called?
Like a theremin type of thing.
Yeah, it's like that weird 1970s science fiction. It's like psychedelic and annoying.
Reminds me of the Dawn of the Dead soundtrack a little bit.
I was in my mind. I was like, something really... It's got a sense of dread to it, which obviously plays into the film, but it's even used in the bits where he's like being happy and lighthearted and stuff. So for those who haven't seen it, it's basically a criminal goes to a mental hospital, basically, rather than go to real prison.
Mm.
There he butts heads with the head nurse, who's very militant at her job. And then it's not a happy ending. Spoiler alert.
I admit that I only watched this movie because I wanted some basis for the Simpsons episode where Homer goes to the mental institution and there's like a lot of...
Is that not the Michael Jackson episode?
Yeah. So there's like a lot of references to One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest in that episode. So that was like really the only basis I watched this for. And then like I loved the movie after that. But there's a lot of callbacks to pop culture from this movie. So.
Yeah, and like even in my house, I think that's part of the reason why I picked it. Like, you know, we will refer to like... you know, doing a nurse ratchet, if like, you know, we'll be like, you know, it's medication time. Like, we actually use some phrases daily, or not, well, maybe with medication, but, you know, and there are so many times.
Is it weird that whenever things aren't going well, you throw a bubbler through the window of your house?
It gets expensive. It's not weird. It just gets really expensive. And, you know, pisses the neighbours off.
Now we got a plumber around tomorrow to put the bubbler back in.
Like, I hear the theremin going. If I can hear, she goes again. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so this was, as Paul was saying, this to me was similar to Reservoir Dogs, which I pretended to see that film until like 2 years ago, and then I finally watched it. Same with Cuckoo's Nest. It became such a big thing in film history, and everything had a takeoff of it. Every element of it became cliche. By the time I saw the source, it had no real effect.
It was this, Clockwork Orange, and
The Shining as well.
The Shining and a lot of stuff, but yeah, like basically anything The Simpsons like really relied on. Animal House,
2001 as well.
Yeah, and I hate that movie so much.
Wow,
so much.
Do you know what's a better movie? Moon with Sam Rockwell.
Yeah,
it's all the best bits of
movie.
2001 with none of the arty-farty.
It's not. I hate Kubrick
Sam
so much.
Rockwell is awesome.
Let's have a I hate Kubrick episode.
It doesn't deserve it. It's just it's too self-serious. It's not for me.
Come at me, nerds.
Now, the next choice that you made is possibly one of my favourite films of all time from 1990. The reason that I'm still scared of Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci, it is Goodfellas.
And isn't it weird when you're watching the Muppets and there's Ray Liotta and you're
Muppets
and he's
Most
trying to
Wanted.
smile.
Yeah.
And you're like, you don't smile. Like, it's so bizarre.
I quite appreciate. Have you seen Muppets Most Wanted?
Yeah.
Oh, he's in another one as well.
Oh, is he really?
Yes, he's in one with the Muppets. I can't remember.
That one.
You know what? I'm going to find out.
You've narrowed it
Text
down.
you. I have. He's in another one. He's in a couple of them. He's a bit of a Muppets regular.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, because what I loved in Muppets Most Wanted was when Kermit's locked up in the gulag with all
I love the gulag.
all the enemies, and it's all famous, basically character actors that have played bad guys. So like you got Danny Trejo, Ray Liotta, and everything. And he even got the weirdest cameo in the B movie a couple of years ago with my kids. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. We haven't got to that one yet.
And it's the weirdest cameo you'll ever see. And Hannibal, the terrible sequel of Silence of the Lambs.
We'll talk about that later.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
I fly back that film.
Wow.
I struggled with that.
This is one of my favorite films of all time. I have encyclopedic knowledge of this film.
Yes.
It's the one film that if I see it on TV, I have to watch the rest of it. Samuel Jackson's in this film. Joe Pesci is at his best at this film. The bit at the end, like when he's that whole bit at the end where he's doing cocaine, but also like making dinner. And then dropping money off and dropping drugs off, and then
the helicopter flying.
I feel like that on school runs sometimes.
Yeah. And the bit where they're in the prison and they're making the pasta sauce.
Yes.
And they talk about how you
cutting the onions,
cutting the garlic so thick that it just melts in the pot. Oh my lord!
Every time I see that, I instantly want to make spaghetti.
Yeah. And it's just and that bit at the end, just like when he's like, we had it all and we messed it up and we're schmucks, and it's just the the bit I say one of my longtime friends, the first conversation we ever had was we walked past the alley. I said, that looks like the alleyway in Goodfellas. He's like, what, when like De Niro's telling her to keep walking down? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, just keep walking down. Just keep walking down.
That gives me the weirdest sense of dread, that scene. And sometimes when like I'm in situations in real life that have that weird feeling of something's not right, but you don't know what's wrong. I instantly just think of that whole part of the film when I'm like, and I love that it stuck with me so much. And honestly, Martin Scorsese is probably the greatest director of our time.
I love his, like, even maybe more than Tarantino, I love the way that he marries the soundtrack to the movie.
Definitely.
Like, that montage of Layla, when, like, they're showing, basically going through and knocking off all the people involved in that job that are keeping, like, spending money too much. And
Not in this film, but do you know where he actually lost me? It's the first time I thought that one of his selections didn't work.
What's that?
It was The Wolf of Wall Street, and the song is Everlong by the Foo Fighters.
Oh, really?
It just clashed so much with the feel of... Like, everything else was typical Scorsese.
Yeah.
And then to have the Foo Fighters thrown in there, it's like, oh, I don't feel it.
You know, and as much as I like Departed, and I love Joaquin Murphy's, the soundtrack to that is so loud. Like, we watched it in the cinemas, and when that Shipping Up to Boston comes in, it comes in at really weird times, and it's really loud, and it's really off-putting, and I was like, I like both those things, but I don't like them together.
The greatest compliment I ever got when we were in a band, we were recording with this guy, and the first time I recorded with him, we were quite glammy rock, and the second time we'd grown some balls, and we were a tough punk band. And one of the songs we recorded, probably our heaviest song we did, the guy finished recording it, and he said, oh, well, that's music to beat the guy across the road up with the butt of a gun. And I was like, that's our style now.
That should be on your bio.
Definitely.
Also, starring Lorraine Bracco, who we saw again in Sopranos as the therapist in that. I love her in this film. that bit where she's just yelling at him when they get raided, and like he flushes the cocaine down the toilet. And it's just the breakdown of that relationship. It's just so good.
I sat one night with the DVD and I watched the whole movie where you have the real guy Henry.
Yes.
Doing the voice.
Yep.
And that scene when she gets the gun on him in bed.
Yeah.
And he wakes up and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "I'm going to kill you."
Yeah.
And like the real guy goes, "That is the only time in my life I thought I was going to get whacked." And my wife turned a gun on me. He's like, I knew there were some problems in other places, but the only time I really thought I was going to get whacked was that moment.
Yeah.
That real guy actually ended up in the late 90s getting kicked out of witness protection.
Yeah.
How do you get kicked out of witness protection?
He kept bringing up the Howard Stern show and stuff.
Just like full fame war.
And
it's
just
like, it's me.
Yeah, basically.
Let's talk about it.
He got done committing like 10 crimes after he was in witness protection. But we're talking like, say there was an out-of-town, like, criminals that didn't live where he used to live before he was in witness protection. He considered them to be safe ground. So he started doing crimes again with people that used to know him out of his original setting.
Is it bad that I kind of admire that? Like,
oh, look.
He's like the real deal, though. Like, he's not faking.
The thing that I always find so funny about it was the book that is written that became Goodfellas also became this other film called My Blue Heaven.
Why do I not know this book?
My Blue Heaven's excellent. I really like it.
It's a film with Steve Martin and Rick Moranis, and it's based on the exact same book,
right?
From from the original. Like the guy wrote his life story being what happened in Goodfellas, then what happened after witness protection.
Oh wow!
This film is set after he's in witness protection.
So
I'm getting on
Nicholas
to that.
Pileggi? Is that the guy?
Nick
Pileggi. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing this weekend.
Definitely. I would recommend that film because I just love Steve Martin so much.
It's a good movie. In Goodfellas too, I've never really been that big a fan of Dennis Farina. If you want to see Dennis Farina like messed up beyond repair, like that scene in the boot where they go back to the car and they're like, oh, it's brutal. It's a brutal film.
And hasn't it got the from The Sopranos, the Christopher, the nephew, and he's really young. Isn't he the one that gets shot when they go dance for me? And he's like 15 or something.
And then he's the one that actually then he shoots him in the foot because he wants to go dance.
That's right. Tommy shoots him.
And then he tells him to go F himself, and he actually shoots
blows him away.
And he's like, but that's the reason that Pesci gets killed, because he killed the son of a made dude, and it's like that bit when I first watched it,
I thought he got killed because old mate got out of prison and said to go get his shine box, and he was made.
Oh, maybe it was that one then. I thought it was because of the other. Oh, yeah, sorry. But the bit where like Pesci walks in that room and it's an empty room, and he knows, and he just.
Oh, that's a really good scene because it also has that sense of dread where. Yep. Everyone except him knows what's about to happen.
Like the two guys who were with him is like they even like talking to him on the way there, and like they know what they're gonna do. And then he rings, and then they get De Niro gets a call in the phone box, and he's just like beating the crap out of the phone box.
It's so sad.
I could walk through this movie. It's just so good.
I honestly think that's how Robert De Niro in real life hangs up any phone. There's just something so organic about the way he does it, and I'm like, that has to be really good.
Oh man,
you'd be like, do the De Niro thing.
We might do this a Scorsese show, I reckon, because I want to talk about Casino at one point too.
Oh, Casino's fantastic.
Yeah, but yeah.
Every time I hear the noise of a metal baseball bat in an actual sports setting, instant thoughts of Casino.
Oh.
Let's get back into it. This is DVG. It is Dave's Video Graveyard on WOWFM, 9:06. Everyone's laughing at something I don't know about, so it must be me. Next, we're talking about a film that Paul has incorrectly identified as a bad film, but we are here to prove him wrong.
Vamp on this for 5 minutes and let me know when you're done.
In 1987, Paul's favourite film was released. It's a family... what would you call it? A fantasy...
Inconceivable!
You can't hate
I can do the voice really well.
You cannot hate it because of him, because he is a big part of our favourite toy-related trilogy.
Would you say hating it would be inconceivable?
I would. I've built up a tolerance to your poison towards this film. We're talking about The Princess Bride. why did you pick this fantastic film?
Yeah, why?
Why? Again, I think it was just a childhood thing. My brother and I were obsessed with it growing up, and yet would walk around the house doing the voices and love it.
It's fantastic.
Love it. And doing, like, anybody want a peanut? And, like, it was just, it was part of our catchphrases around the house and something that just became weaved into the tapestry of our lives, really.
Oh.
Throwing people down hills and, as you wish and all that stuff. Bit of that.
Why don't you like it, Counterpoint?
Yeah, come on.
I don't know. I just never grew up with it.
Trying.
No, like I don't. Firstly, I don't really like the fantasy genre, like that sort of thing. But like I don't mind like Willow and Labyrinth stuff like that. I don't know, everything about it. I just don't like. I don't know. I don't really like Goonies either, to tell you the truth.
I don't like Goonies. And
I like Goonies.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of these things that, like, I think a lot of it could be like working in a video store. It ruins movies for you. So, like, I hate The Matrix because when I first started working, that's the movie that came out, and everyone's like, "This is the best movie ever." Like, same with Fight. I don't really like Fight Club because it's just you get so many people saying it's such a great film, say it's a great film, and then you go home and watch it. It's like, is it that
You
great?
just start with your expectations.
Yeah, like, it's too high. So maybe like Princess Bride, like when I finally got around to watching it, I was just like, what is the big hype of this?
Yeah.
film?
I reckon
So-
Fight Club falls into that hole that Rick and Morty falls into, where elitist fans want to shoehorn.
I'm going to say it right now. The season 3 of Rick and Morty is terrible compared to the first two seasons. Like, come at me, nerds.
Except for Pickle Rick.
Yeah, but like, I mean, that's
Call in now.
but like, they just lost it. Like, and there's going to be a 4th season. I reckon they should just stop it now. I think they've had their time. Everyone wants more and more episodes, and it's like, well, it's just going to get more and more mediocre. So.
It's got 72 more mediocre episodes greenlit.
Why? Why? You don't need so many more episodes of that.
I just don't know why you don't like this film, because it's so inoffensive, enjoyable. It's a family film. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah, I know. Look, I just don't like it. It's one of those things I'm just not going to budge on. Maybe I'll watch it again sometime soon and see if I go. I'll watch this again when you watch Ferris Bueller again.
Okay, so you're never going to watch this again. I watched a YouTube documentary because they're pretty funny, because sometimes they're so poorly made.
Yeah.
But a YouTube documentary on the deep web, and basically a website called the Silk Road, which is where they were selling all the weapons and stuff. And the guy that run it named himself the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Excellent.
And that just made it so much cooler.
Did it?
He did.
But did it? It did.
I really like YouTube documentaries at the moment, because they all use the Ken Burns style of just a photo that's poorly like pixelated, with it just slowly panning, because they've got no rights to any footage whatsoever.
Can you call that a documentary? Or just
well, it's in the title.
Weird man talking to a picture.
And here's Paul's royalty-free Why Ferris Bueller's the Greatest Movie Ever documentary.
This is going to be going boom, boom.
Oh, if you could do that just over the entire thing, because you couldn't license it and you just go...
Yeah, and then it'll be a Guinness record as well. He couldn't do it one week. He couldn't do the radio show, so me and my friend came in and did a live audio commentary of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I've missed one episode in the entire year that I couldn't be here, and he made it all about Ferris Bueller.
Yep.
He told me he wasn't going to be able to come in a couple of weeks. I'm like, oh really? That's fine.
Opening.
That's cool. All right, I got out of here.
So next time Paul's not here, would you like to come back and do a live commentary of The Princess Bride?
I would love to.
Rather than even talk about the film, we just describe what's on the screen at that point.
That'd be great. I'm quite happy
I'd still watch it.
Inconceivable.
My parents never used to read me stories when I'd chuck a sickie and stay home. I just don't understand how anyone could be militant against... Like, this film is vanilla at its worst. Like, how could this bother anyone?
Absence of Val Kilmer.
No.
Look, it's the absence of Valium.
Well,
Absence of value.
let's hope the internet hate wagon that's driving down towards Richie Cunningham at the moment may get him to make another Willow, because
Can we talk about that for 1 second?
Sure.
Anyone who hated on Solo, thank you, because now we got no more Star Wars spin-offs. I hate you.
Star Wars fans are the worst.
They're the Pearl Jam fans of movies.
They're the Opeth fans of movies.
Have you ever talked to a Pearl Jam fan before?
No.
They're horrible.
They are the Radiohead fans of movies. It's like, I can like this better than you can like this, but I can explain why it's not good better than you can.
I heard one of my mates went to the Big Day Out that Pearl Jam played. I'm a huge Pearl Jam fan, by the way, but the Pearl Jam, they played Big Day Out, they went to the gate, the fence, and there's a bunch of like really old 40-year-old dudes like sweating it out, and they're like, "Oh, can we go on the fence for I think Arcade Fire were playing," and they're like, "No, I'm here for Pearl Jam," and there was like 6 hours away from them actually hitting the stage. I'm like, "You're the worst."
I specifically tied my flannelette in knots all week just so it would hang this way.
Yep.
Because I need it to be on when he's like, like it really speaks to me, that bit where it goes.
Me and my friend went and saw Veruca Salt when they played the Gov, and like if you want to go, so you know these 90s bands coming out and doing tours. The best thing about it is that you are sharing the audience with people who haven't gone and seen a show since the 90s.
Oh, nice.
So, like, we bumped past this one guy with our beer, and he's like, "Whoa!" like he'd never been bumped into in the night. In the 90s, no one bumped into me with a beer. And it's just like, and then we sort of got to the front row, and everyone's just like, like we're bumping past them. It's like, yeah, this is what people do now. Like, they try to get closer when you're just standing there and not enjoying it, and just like they were just like mute. They didn't do anything. Oh, it was just horrible.
I had the same thing at a 90s concert, but it was a completely different demographic than you would have seen.
Is that your Limp Bizkit one?
No. It was something way better.
What?
It was Ace of Base. I went and saw Ace of Base in the last year and a half, and it was all
Did you get free tickets?
No.
Oh.
I bought them.
Okay.
Because Ace of
You
Base
saw the sign?
rad. Yes.
Did it open up your eyes?
It did. I was like, I want it to be more of a beautiful life. And it was. Because they were fantastic.
Is that another Ace of Base song? Because there's only really one Ace.
It's a beautiful life. One.
Did they do that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
You were asking me about Ace of Base?
Every time, like, it's when Aqua came out and did a show, I'm like, oh, they're just going to do, like, Barbie, like,
there's
the entire
Sign,
time.
and there's also that, all that she wants is another baby. That's also Ace of Base.
Wow, maybe I know 3 Ace of Base songs.
You're listening to Ace of Base Hour here on WOWFM, where we discuss all 3 of their hits. No,
and
but it was
Dr. Jones.
That's Aqua. They also had sad movies, and there was a few classics from Aqua.
Yep. How was that crowd?
I don't know. I couldn't see through. No, but same thing with Ace of Base. It was all girls that had danced out of Ace of Base one night and gone home, and then 20 years later gone,
to the concert.
Let's go back. And they still, I don't know, they were like, oh, there's not really many places to sit here. It was one thing I heard.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
That car park was full of like Tweety Bird mud flaps and like.
It was frangipani stickers as far as like.
Who did Ain't No Gonna Break My Stride? Is that Ace of Base?
No, that is.
Oh no!
I'll figure it out.
I got to keep on moving.
Get on it, Jamie. Help me out.
This is a movie show.
No, this is the Ace of Base Hour. Didn't you hear? All right, moving along to the next choice, which we didn't pre-talk about. It is.
We should probably break for a song. We've been talking for a long time about Ace of Base. We need to clean the palate.
This is WOWFM. Here is Ace of Base. 100.5 WOWFM. Dave's Video Graveyard, joined by our good Ace of Base fan friend, that is Laken from Angelic. Ace of Base news, Paul, you got any?
Well, that band was also from Sweden, so that was no fun at all. They're coming out in November, so go check them out.
That is exciting. Are you supporting? Have you been badgering?
No.
Oh, you guys could have a fight.
I really wanted to too. And have you got to the point now, if you see a band coming out that you're like, oh, I kind of want to see them, we might be able to match them, and like just go for the support so you don't have to pay for a ticket? It's okay. You're in a safe space.
Yeah, I think we've definitely given that a crack. We never get.
We've done it twice. I was like, I don't have to buy a ticket now. It's awesome.
We keep trying, but yes, it would be nice.
I did a very I'm not proud of this. So last year, someone put up a post saying we're looking for supports for this band. And for some reason, I'm like, yeah, let's go for it. And like, I'd never heard of the band before. The rest of my bandmates thought like, oh, he must be really into them. And we got the support because it was one of those ones like, if you put enough people liking the post from your group, like that's what got the support. So at the end of it, like we got it, and they're like, "Oh, you got it!" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Are you excited?" I'm like, "I don't know, I've never heard of them." And they're like,
"Can't wait to see them."
And they're like, "Why'd you want it?" I'm like, "Because I wanted to win."
That's awesome.
We back in, I reckon it was maybe 2014-ish. There was a competition to support the band Wednesday 13 in Melbourne.
Yeah.
So the promoter put up a thing: whoever gets the most votes gets it. Only eligible to bands from blah blah blah. So went on our MySpace, changed the town to Melbourne, went on Fiverr and paid $5 for someone with bots to just vote for us non-stop. Needless to say, we won that support show, and then Nelly had a fist fight with one of the local bands that thought they had it.
That's
really?
Awesome.
Yep. $5, and we got to play with a spin-off of a band that I loved.
And they never found out you went from Melbourne?
No.
Where'd you play in Melbourne?
We put Adelaide/Melbourne.
Brilliant.
At the Hi-Fi Bar.
Really?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was big news, but kids, go out there. I don't know if it's even still a thing, but pay someone on Fiverr $5 to use a bot to hide their IP and just re-vote.
I'm so funny.
Probably.
I'm so funny at the band that hated you too after we got first.
It was good. They were. They actually were like one of these bands that just straight up copied like Wednesday 13, in every way. Whereas we just sounded like them because, I sound like an angry spider apparently when I sing. Yeah. So we got the show.
That's brilliant.
Suck it, everyone from Melbourne. The next
Adelaide
film.
did it again.
Yeah. Adelaide for the win. We are talking about the film from 2000, the namesake of our favourite show here on WOWFM being High Fidelity on Thursdays with Shannon. Shout out, he gives me money every time. Rob, a record store owner and a compulsive list maker, recounts his top 5 breakups, including the one in progress. I think of this film, even to this day, even though I'm married, every time I speak to any girl that I ever used to go out with, because I start fearing that they, when Catherine Zeta-Jones, it just makes
that thing, that speech that she does, are you in or are you out?
Oh, no, are you just getting back in contact to
to see where,
I'm at? And I'm like, I overanalyze and worry. This film is my favourite thing with John Cusack saying that I haven't revisited Grosse Point Blank yet.
Yeah.
I did used to love that, but this film is fantastic.
I'm kind of worried to rewatch this. I haven't watched this for a few years, so I'm kind of worried to rewatch it and find out that he's a bit of a dick in it.
He in the original cut of the film, he actually straight up is a terrible person.
Yeah.
And they actually went back and cut it after a few focus groups. They cut out a lot of stuff because there is actually. I found this out by watching a video where it's like the top 10 scenes that cut out that changed a movie.
Yeah, right.
This was number 1 because there's actually...
The scene where he gets all the records from that woman?
No, that's one of them. The other one is actually what he did to the girl that he was breaking up with at the time, where she gets pregnant and he decides he doesn't want to be.
Yep.
And he basically forces her decision of what she wants to do about it.
Yep.
So, they took that out because it painted him as an unlikable leading person.
Having said that, the bit where in the film where he does the top 5 list of why she hates him.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually good to see him culpable for all those, like, horrible things. So, like, at that time, they didn't do that. You didn't do that for the guy of a romantic comedy. Like, you were not the one that... is going to be...
So if you look, this is essentially a romantic comedy from 2000. So the landscape of romantic comedies at the time were like Can't Hardly Wait or She's All That. It was all about the dudes in the chick flicks and stuff.
And he's definitely not your sort of like pretty boy, like typical rom-com kind of guy.
This is a rom-com movie for hipsters, let's face it.
Yeah.
Before they were hipsters.
And
though.
music nerds. So
Yeah.
The soundtrack for this, I love.
Perfection.
It's one of my favourite soundtracks of all time.
How do you feel about Jack Black in this film?
I don't like him in this film.
He's great.
I love him in this film.
Like and those bits, like I used to like sometimes when I was feeling like basically when I had the VHS, I'm like, if I'm feeling down, I'm gonna go just fast forward to the bits of Jack Black in the record store. Like those bits were.
I'm pretty sure it was heavily featured in the trailer, but the whole dialogue of when the guy comes to buy called to say I love you, and he loses his crap and saying how lame it is and says, "Oh, sorry, is she in a coma?" That is such a good film, perfectly casted. And every time I hear Peter Frampton, I think of this song.
So do I.
Yeah.
So do I.
I instantly go to this.
It is just.
And who's at the front of the club when he said, "Is this Peter Frampton?" It's Dave Chappelle.
Really?
Yep. Dave Chappelle's at the front of the club, just like, and he just sort of just gives him a nod and then walks in, and yeah.
Because this was the first thing I saw. I cannot pronounce her name in writing. But it's the first thing I saw the oldest Huxtable daughter in outside of the Cosby Show.
Yeah. I like them.
Talking about the
Yeah, no, I was reading
Laura,
the wrong one. Yeah.
Who's from like where's she from? Norway or something.
That second name doesn't have any of the right letters.
I was like, I can understand why you can't pronounce that, but Lisa Bonet, it's not that hard, man.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong one. Ivan.
I can't do it. I'm not going to try.
I'm not usually a Catherine Zeta-Joy fan, but I don't mind her in this. Like, it's because she kind of gives him a good sort of what for. Tim Robbins in this film is amazing. Oh my god, that bit where like he's going through all the different scenarios, like where he imagines them coming to the store and smack him in the face with the phone.
How's when he's imagining them like in bed together and that he's like, oh, like, and it is that gut feeling that you get when you think about someone, you know, with somebody else in bed and you're like, oh god, I can't.
Oh yeah, he's like, we used to hear him, listen to him have sex.
Yes.
It drives my wife crazy, but to a different degree. You know the way he's always finding new wanky ways to file his records?
Yeah.
I do that with my videotape collection. And the most recent one my wife found so painful that she just now deliberately like will take one down and put it randomly somewhere else. Because I have done like a 6 degrees of separation / Kevin Bacon, as in Bruce Willis is in this film. Bruce Willis is in this film with someone else. Someone else is in this film with Adam Sandler. And that's how they're all set out.
Yeah.
And she thinks I'm insufferable, but it was inspired by this film.
And hence the Wonder Woman cut.
Paul's just left.
Thing.
Paul's gone home. He's taken my Ace of Base
physically,
CD.
but he's left the building.
That's amazing. I'm going to do that at home.
It is really good, particularly the likes of Armageddon, where it's like, take your pick, because everyone's in this film.
Going back to that six degrees of Kevin Bacon thing, we used to play it in the video store, and I remember one customer like sort of he must have overheard us, and he's just like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, you go." Like the shame on his face that he had for us.
I just saw it when I talked to him.
and then like I said to him, "But no," and I tried to like sort of get him into to play it, and he couldn't sort of get it.
I remember the draw of this game pre-internet. Like now it's not as fun because you get stuck and you can look it up.
Yeah.
Me and my friends used to do it, and we'd be stuck for a couple of weeks until you go, I saw something on the weekend that had such and such and such and such, which links where we were. Whereas now you just go on IMDb, it's like, oh yeah, we're in that together.
Nah, it's such a fun game. I love it. So.
And a great movie.
It is all about your choices tonight. Don't let all our stories interrupt that.
I'm enjoying the Ace of Base Kevin Bacon album.
Yeah.
6 degrees of Ace of Bacon here on WOWFM. So the next choice that you selected, I will go into the right notes because I don't think I found a note on my phone that says how good is Dumbo look? How good is Dumbo look? Michael Keaton. That's the shorthand form that I've written.
Oh, is that for $1 Million Hotel?
No, that's for the trailer from last week, watching the Dumbo trailer where I was like, oh no thanks, Tim Burton. But then quickly there's a glimpse of Michael Keaton, which totally changed my mind about the trailer. So I will find the actual list unless Paul jumps in.
So the
and
$1 Million
helps.
Hotel, I'm trying to, but just keep talking.
That's the last one, isn't it?
Yeah, but I want to sort of touch on that because, like, I remember watching it when it first came out, and then I haven't really I can't actually find a copy of it anywhere.
That's really hard. It's like almost impossible to get a copy of it.
There's someone with Bono in it, isn't he? He's
no,
in it.
it's Wim Wenders did it.
Yeah.
And it's got Bono wrote a lot of it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And of course, did
Miller
the music.
It's got Mel Gibson.
It's got everybody in it. Actually, the cast is really huge, and
Jimmy Smits.
yeah, it's got all these weird cameos. Mel Gibson is this really, really weird character in it with this big scar down his back, and it was just, I was really into like Wim Wenders. I loved, what was the German, because he does all the German movies, the Wings of Desire, and things like that. So, and I do love Bono. I'm sorry, everyone's going to hate me for it, but I do.
Did you look at your list and go, this is too accessible. I need to wank it up.
I did think, look, I do need to wank it up a bit. I actually did put it on partly because when it was really hard to pick 10 movies, okay, guys? Like, it was really hard. And I thought, okay, well, look, try to be, like, serious and, like, what do you really love and what would you watch over and over again or whatever. And I did I was studying art for a while, and I did these huge art projects on this movie.
Okay.
And so I thought, well, it deserves a mention because it was, like, a really influential on me. I love the cast. I love the music. I know it's really unpopular to like Bono, but I've always loved U2 and Bono, so I'm sorry.
I don't know why it is, though, because, like...
I don't know either. It didn't used to be. Now it's like, like, I think, especially since iTunes, since they put that free thing on, it's like illegal to like U2. I think Bono's done too much humanitarian work, so you're not allowed to like him.
But like, a lot of the U2 albums are amazing albums. Like Joshua Tree's an amazing album. Like it's Under a Blood Red Sky is like something that's just I don't know.
Rattle and Hum is one of the greatest albums that's not a punk album that is a punk album I've ever heard.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
and have you seen the movie? Oh, that is awesome. Oh yeah, I can't help it. I love you too.
Yeah.
Maybe it's my age.
Oh, she likes us both. That's so nice.
So yeah, I think this does wank up my list nicely.
What is the film about?
Who fucking knows? It's really strange. It's basically, what's the lead guy's name? Have you got the list there?
Yeah.
Guy, Jeremy Davies.
Yeah.
Davies.
He's like a really awkward, weird. I think he's got mental health issues, and he's in love with Miller, and she seems like she's nuts. In fact, so they're all nuts. They're all nuts. Kind of living in this hotel that's run down, and they're all going to get kicked out, but they can't afford to go anywhere else, and they're all sort of, support each other with their craziness. And I think I think the movie's supposed to be about them sort of trying to work out how to save the hotel. There's a guy that thinks he's John Lennon, which is one of the funniest characters I've ever seen.
Okay.
And he's like sitting on his piano, and he's like sitting on the cornflake, and he's like, I don't know why I wrote that. And he's like, really thinks he's John Lennon. And of course, there's the love story between Miller and the lead guy.
Yeah.
And sort of him trying to pursue her, but he's very, he doesn't know how to pursue her. And then Mel Gibson comes in with this big scar down his back. It's really strange.
And it also, Paulie, just looking at the list, it has Professor Warlock in this film. Julian Sands from
Julian
Warlock
Sands.
is also in this film.
Julian Sands is awesome.
Funnily enough, looking through the cast list right now, remember the story I told earlier about I always get tagged in this actor? His name is Donald Logue, I believe.
Is that him?
That, in that era, I was getting tagged in that photo all the time.
Anything like you.
I agree. I totally agree.
Now that's all I'm going to see.
I was very upset.
That's all I'm going to be able to see now when I see him.
I find myself more of a Philip Seymour Hoffman Boogie Nights with a beard.
Hey, Donald Logue's in Gotham.
He's in everything, and I don't watch Gotham because I don't have the time to watch an entire Batman TV show without Batman in it. If I wanted something about Batman without Batman, I'd watch the Jim Carrey Batman movie.
Yep.
Donald just like Donald without they just
Donald
lazed off and left the D off, like Donald? Is that really a name?
I reckon someone burnt their tongue when they were like saying what his name was.
When
like,
they're filling out the birth
Donald.
certificate. Donald, it's just like, that's all they got.
There's an Australian movie called Praise, which kind of reminds me of that $1 Million Hotel.
Yeah.
From '98, sort of around at the same time.
Because you have seen it, haven't you?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was good. I mean, like at the time, I probably haven't seen it since then, but it was very like there's a lot of that indie sort of stuff going on, like, and a lot of it to do with like those dead end hotels. Like there was Praise, there was $1 Million Hotels, a couple other ones. It was just, and I liked it for what it was.
Was it American?
What, Praise or
no, $1 Million Hotel.
It was. Oh, it's German.
German.
I
was going to say, just looking at everyone involved, there's no real like. You can usually get a sense of where a film was made by the cast or people involved.
Yes.
But Miller at that time was doing like heaps of like, overseas stuff.
Yeah. Well, she probably knew him through that sort of thing, so that's probably. Yeah.
And because I know that Bono and The Edge, they wrote music for Wings of Desire as well, so I think they were working with him on probably his movies.
That makes
and then they've
sense.
sat around drinking some wine one night and gone, "Let's write a movie."
Well, even looking at the director's work, like he has done so many either music videos or live docos of U2, pretty much the whole way through his career, like. A lot of stuff in 2000, but even back in 1990, he did the Night and Day music video.
Yeah.
So long time.
And I think Far Away So Close, the U2 did that song. I don't know if you guys heard it. That Far Away So Close song was for that movie, which then the Americans made a terrible version of.
Okay.
With Nicolas Cage and Meg Ryan.
City of Angels.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Wings. Yeah.
And I couldn't even get through the first because I loved Wim Wenders. I used to watch all of his stuff.
Goo.
And then I thought, oh, here we go. I quite like Nicolas Cage, which I do. And then I saw about 5 minutes and I was like, get this.
That makes so much sense because to this day, that is the one chick flick I had to suffer through with one of my first girlfriends, right? Where the ending blew my mind because it was so perfect. And so far removed. Have you seen City?
Yeah.
He gives up his immortality to be with her and she gets killed straight after. Best ending ever of a chick flick ever. That makes sense that it's from something with a lot more
yeah,
deepness.
And like Far Away So Close, it's,
because pretty much City of Angels is like an hour and a half music video of the Goo Goo Dolls' Iris. we need a companion piece for this terrible song.
So yeah, I think... and it ranks my list up quite nicely, I think. And you can't get it. So there you go.
Yeah, it's very hard to get it.
Yeah. You can't find it anywhere.
I found a trailer and that's about it, yeah. Yep. We do have one more song. I mean, one more film. But we'll go to a song first. You're listening to DVG on WOWFM.
Maybe not.
Did your Ace of Base not work?
It didn't.
The computer's got taste.
Let's try again, shall we?
Oh, we could.
He's determined. He's going to do it. It's going to happen.
No, not working.
I like the fact that...
Why don't you put that 33-minute song on that you were telling me about?
Because that was a live experience. Good times. So just talk amongst yourselves, guys.
Can I just ask, actually?
Yeah.
So, being a female singer from the late 90s to now...
Ooh, it's a lady.
Have you noticed a change, in the scene and, just how... have you noticed the change of the scene? It's... back in the late 90s, early 2000s, was it harder to be, a front lady than it is now, sort of thing? Or?
I mean, it's probably... I'm not the right person to ask because I don't go out very much anymore.
Okay.
Maybe if I was really out there experiencing it, I'd have some kind of an idea, which I don't. But I think, to be honest, really, I think there was more female-led bands when we, in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I think there was a lot more chicks that are out there giving it a go. But you know what? There was a lot more venues. I mean,
that's right.
It was so different. You know, we all went to see bands on weekends. It didn't matter whether you were playing or not. And there was so many great venues and so many
Yeah.
venues that had, you know, live original. I mean, we were just talking about it on Saturday night, like some of the classics like Cartoons,
Yep.
In Zone, of course, big ones like
Tivoli, yeah.
Mad Love Bar. I mean, they were just everywhere.
Even
And
the Austral when it was doing bands.
yeah,
and
it was
stuff, so-
fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what you did. You went and watched bands.
Yep.
So I guess it's hard to judge now because
Okay, yeah.
there's not as many venues for, you know, original stuff.
What's your favourite venue in Adelaide to play?
Oh, I have to say the Metro.
Yep.
And I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm a smoker, so
Yeah.
you can have a cigarette and watch the
You
band.
couldn't know from your smooth voice.
This is how I came. This is like I went, Mama. Like I've had this voice. This is not.
Yeah.
Don't blame the smokes, all right? They're all right.
Do you remember the switch over from the non-smoking venues to the
was
from
horrendous.
smoking to non-smoking?
Yeah,
Like,
and it was horrendous for bands.
Yeah.
You know what the biggest problem became? Nobody is in the room when you start your first song.
Yeah.
Because they are still outside. And this is the weird thing. Majority of people obviously still smoke.
Yeah.
Or are, like, friends with people who smoke because everybody is outside. And, you know, when you get on and start your first song, people start running in from outside because, oh, shit, the band
Yeah.
started. But then you've got your really committed smokers. They're not going to put that lady out because it's really expensive. So, you know, they might not get into your second
Yeah.
song, which is, it's bugger, really.
I do remember, like, because I was smoking at the time when they did the
did you
crossover.
quit?
I did quit,
I'm
yeah.
so jealous. I really want to.
And then I do remember at the end of our first set thinking, like, I feel a lot better than I used to. Like, because I used to not be able to see the crowd sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, it was just that
Did you used to
dense with
smoke on stage when you were playing?
Sometimes, yeah.
I don't know
like,
how I did it.
My lead singer used to do it all the time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I used to chain away.
Yeah.
And I look back now and I think if I even tried to do that now, I would be, you know, coughing a lung up on the floor. I don't know how I
Yeah.
did it. And not just me smoking, but the whole room was
The whole
smoking.
room. It's like, and you just.
How did we survive?
Yeah, no,
but
it's
I guess, you know, I don't know, I grew up with parents that, you know, just in your face the whole time.
Yeah.
Not that it would affect you, but I do not miss getting home from a night out at a gig and my clothes not being able to wear them again the next day because they just smell like cigarettes.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's a really filthy habit.
Oh,
It
well,
really
not
is.
washing's probably filthy too, and that's why I
Probably
like
just-
not having cigarettes. Anyway, we'll go to a song and we'll be back here on DVG.
Oh, God.
100.5 WOWFM. Sounds like a song straight from High Fidelity, Cheap Shot. That was Ace of Base with All She Wants Hero on 100.5 WOWFM. Dave's Video Graveyard. We've run out of movies to talk about, but
No,
we'll
no.
still keep talking. Oh, sorry.
Romeo
We're
and
going to
Juliet.
talk again. Oh,
Baz.
Or
now
were
we
you guys
go down.
avoiding this one?
No. I like an Aussie director that has created a genre known as glitter farts because that's all his movies are now.
And they're fantastic.
It's all slow motion glitter farts.
It's awesome.
And then occasionally he'll staple Leonardo DiCaprio back into him just to stay relevant.
And he's got his wife doing all the costumes. So come on, it's a family affair.
I am such a non-fan of Paul Mercurio that kind of set my tone for this. But I must say, in year 7,
Yep.
if you wanted to get in good with any of the ladies, just mention this film or Titanic, and it was just
In
smooth
like
sailing. This is the only reason I think that Claire Danes has a film career, because she was
My so-called life.
no, not having it. She ruined Terminator, you see.
What do you think
so-
about the soundtrack to this movie?
Perfect. Like,
Yes,
it is fantastic. That Quentin Tarver, I didn't know the Prince When Doves Cry at the time because I wasn't musically cultured. But that was great. Anything that has Jamie Kennedy and John Leguizamo in it is a win in my book.
Bake my tablet juicer.
Coolest guns in film outside of a John Woo film.
I remember
Very cool
'cause
guns.
Everclear was on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
The
Cardigans.
Love
Me,
Fool.
love
Yes,
me.
Love that song. Great song.
If so many of the songs on the soundtrack weren't what plays overnight here, I would have actually played them now. Saying that, we did just play an Ace of Base song
Yeah.
off of Paulie's USB.
Can you find the Cardigans song to play us out?
This is Love Fool here on WOWFM. This is...
I watched this movie under obligation, I watched it for school because I think we're doing the difference between this one and the 1960s version of Romeo and Juliet. And,
was it the tights? Was like step one. I know he wears tights in the night costume.
Oh, and then the lack of nudity too. Like the 1960s one's got nudity in it, and this one didn't. I was just like, I went to an all boys school. I was like, which one do you think's better?
I have always, since day dot, been a massive fan of music because I love music and film. I love music videos that tie into the film.
Yes.
And you will never find a better example, even though I think the video is better than the film. The When Doves Cry.
Yes.
Intercut with footage and audio of the movie makes it so intense. And it's like, for me, the only reason I never loved this film was it promised this action film that it didn't deliver. And I know it's William Shakespeare, but it looked so gritty and so over the top. But like I say, for me, a lot of Baz Luhrmann films are style over substance.
Yeah.
But, you know, that works for some directors. For me, it just never won me over. Perfect soundtrack.
You've got to give him credit. He managed to bring an old text, a classic old text, into a modern realm, but he did it. You don't cringe when he did it. Like, I think other people have tried, like with Hamlet. You know, like
There's been a lot of Hamlets, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a real Shakespeare nerd. So for me, I'm like Kenneth Branagh, 4-hour, full text, thank you very much, English all the way, see you later, thanks. Don't do this Mel Gibson Hamlet stuff where you're going to try to modernise it. It don't work. You know, Shakespeare did it well, leave it alone. And for me, Baz has been the only one who's been able to bring Shakespeare into the modern realm. Because he still used, like, the way they call the guns a rapier.
Yeah.
He didn't try to say, oh, let's call it a gun. He was like, well, we'll still call it a sword.
Coolest swords ever.
Yeah, and I think that he made it classy. But he made it modern, but he made it classy. And, of course, the music's amazing. And he managed to bring the music. I mean, like, I love Baz. But I have to say, with Moulin Rouge, the first time I watched it, I was kind of hiding. Because I was hiding my seat because I wanted so badly for it to be awesome. And I just wasn't sure if it was. But the first time I saw Romeo and Juliet, I was just like, that's perfect, rad, bring it on. Loved it.
What did you think of Australia?
Oh, sort of, you know, eventually Moulin Rouge grew on me. And I can now watch it happily and, you know, declare it to the world. With Australia, it was just... I wanted to like it so badly.
It was a film-length tourism ad at best.
Yeah. I didn't want to be cynical, but I don't think I could sit through it. I think I watched it once and I just went, I don't think I can sit through that again.
Because I watched it and I feel that a lot of people watch and go, I really should go to the outback of Australia. But whereas I watched it, I'm like, I really want a flat screen TV, and I just get that every time I look at Nicole Kidman's forehead. It's
well, I watched it. I just thought, Nicole, just get off the Botox. It was sad.
Did you watch Gatsby or?
I did.
Yeah.
That is where glitter fart comes from because everything in that movie is slow motion and glitter thrown in the face.
Gatsby.
Well, yeah, whatevs.
Everyone.
I forgot Paul Rudd was in this film.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Everyone also thinks that he did The Greatest Showman. Because I'm like... that is a glitter fart. That is exactly what I'm talking about. I can totally see why you think that he's done this, but yeah, unfortunately that's someone else has been...
Well, I think I have to love this because it did introduce me to Jamie Kennedy. I didn't know who he was before this. And I like when I just saw him in this, I was like, I have to know who this person is, and started following him.
Really?
Do you hate him?
No, I don't hate him. I've never heard someone profess love for him.
No.
Yeah.
I loved all the Dimension films he did. So all the Screams and all the spin-offs he did. Do you know what he did that was the worst thing ever?
What?
The Son of the Mask, which is the sequel to The Mask.
I've never been there.
Don't
go there.
I put as big a warning on that as I do a Serbian film. They're both they're both films that should never be watched ever.
I'll put that in my phone.
I remember his TV show, the Jamie Kennedy Experiment. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Malibu's Most Wanted.
Malibu's Most Wanted. He did that right before Son of Mask, and then he come out and said that he thinks that's why no one took him seriously. It's like, yeah,
maybe Jamie.
Yeah, no, I was mad about him for a long time.
One of Romeo's gang members, the big dude with the spiky blonde hair.
Yeah.
He could have played me in high school in a movie because that's... I can't find it. Oh, there we go.
Dash.
I'm pretty sure he was in the second Punisher film. That guy with his spiky...
I bet you think that.
Yeah, Punisher Warzone. Right there. Right there. He was in Silver Linings Playbook. He would play me in a film for shizzle because Philip Seymour was out of the running now.
Donald.
Yeah, Donell.
Oh, is that what it is?
I don't know.
Is it Donald or Donell?
It's a terrible name. Like, it's... Maybe
it
it's
seems
just
like half a name.
I'm going to message Dash and say, I'm going to take a picture of you and like, he reckons that you should play him in a film.
Definitely. Do it. What did you think of Strictly Ballroom?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it.
It was one of those movies I watched with mum and dad because that's how old I was at the time. But I absolutely love that John Paul Young song. And I remember the music video really, like, you know, the re-release music video?
Yeah.
Where the Cupid shoots everyone. But there's so much blood when he shoots them. That really was the weirdest.
Have you seen the Dugout and the All-Stars take it off?
No,
in their live
but I'm
show?
sure it's fantastic.
Oh, it's beautiful. And, you know, good on Aussies for ripping apart other Aussies.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what we do best.
Yes.
And
I must say,
keep that tradition up, please.
1996, a time when John Leguizamo could get third billing on a film. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah. No, he's not there now.
Well, apparently Leo was like the biggest champion for this movie to get made. Because, of course, I watched the extras. And I just remember watching... they were talking to him and Baz. They're struggling to get it made. They're struggling to get funding or any support. And they just started, like, shooting scenes, just like Leo in casual down an alleyway. And I think they show it in some of the extras of him, like, just, you know, acting out some of the parts and stuff, trying to get the studios involved.
One thing I won't take away from Baz's glitter farts is the way he films scenes and the way he sets up shots, like particularly visually, just thinking Romeo and Juliet. You know when they're down by the ocean side with the amphitheater ruins? So visually awesome. And like I say, that music video that's intercut with all the best bits of the film, way better than the film.
Well, I think Baz gets the drama in Shakespeare, whereas you watch those, you know, the stage type version, like the 1960s, and it's all so watered down.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like people think... Oh, but at Shakespeare, it can't be dramatic or it can't be intense. You know, like when Leonardo's driving in the car screaming and, you know, going after whoever. And it's so intense, it's so dramatic, but that's how it's supposed to be. Like, Baz gets it. He's like, yeah, I'm all over this drama.
What's your favourite Shakespeare?
Hamlet.
Is it?
Yeah, yep. I love a good depressive guy that, you know, you kill yourself over. Yes, Hamlet, love it.
What's yours, Paul?
Mine, Macbeth.
Cool.
But I'm not supposed to say it, so.
Why?
Well, no, we're not doing a play. But you're not
that's the thing where you're not
supposed to say it. Yeah.
And what about you, Dave?
The bit in Last Action Hero where Schwarzenegger does. And yeah, that's probably the only bit. I'm pretty sure it's, where's the one where he talks to the skull?
Hamlet.
Hamlet.
See, you're with me. You're on my team.
That's it. I'm so cultured.
You are.
That's it.
I'm glad we ended on that note.
Cultured AF. Anyway, we're running out of time. Sadly. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me,
What's going on with your band now that you've released a single? What do you tell us all about what's happening moving forward?
We've got 2 more tracks to release in September. And we haven't got any gigs booked. So if anybody would like us to play on their show, or if you've got a birthday coming up, let us know. Drop us a line. We are free as a bird at the moment and just looking for things to do. And release our tracks. Hopefully we'll book a gig for it and actually do a show for it. Or else, I don't know, I'll just post it to you in the mail. Maybe send me your address.
Throw it from the top of a building in the city and hope people pick it up.
Frisbee them across Adelaide. So, yeah, hopefully a couple more things this year. But thanks so much for having me on tonight, guys. Really appreciate it.
Anytime, honestly. And where can people check out your stuff?
Facebook, MySpace. I think we have still got an old
MySpace. Nice.
I'm sure we've got Twitter and Instagram. I don't know anything about that stuff. I don't tend to run it. But I think Sam's onto it. He's out there doing stuff. I'm sure it all happens.
Okay.
So, yeah. And I mean, look, honestly, one thing I really loved at the gig on Saturday night is that a guy came and he doesn't have a computer. So he couldn't take it. And I said, well, do you want me to burn you a CD? I can burn it to a CD for you. And he's like, and I'm like, well, you know, send me a text. He's just got a landline. But I'm going to make this happen. I'm so determined. I'm so glad that he came to the gig, and I've got his landline number.
Well, I have noticed in the local punk scene, it might have always been there, but I'm just not underground enough. Cassette tapes have made quite the resurgence.
They are, yeah.
So from now on, I think we should probably release the podcast version of this show on floppy disks, because why make things that are enjoyable accessible is what I say.
Correct.
And that's just the punk ethos, I guess.
You guys don't have an Instagram. Get on it.
Don't we?
Sam.
Oh, Sam.
That's your name.
Sam, you've ruined it. Like,
we will be onto that when he gets back from his holiday.
now you've got that.
I don't know.
Sam's on holiday.
He's going somewhere. I don't know where he is.
Now you've got that DVG
But he
heat
owes
on
me
you.
$15. He owes me $15. So.
He's definitely skipped town for $15. Put the word out, ladies and gentlemen. Wanted for $14 because you've still got to make a bit of money. Sam from Angelic. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
The evening with Angelic here on WOWFM.